Alright, so we're going to do a quick introduction to MikeMike, and we'll start with setup. First thing you do, get your MikeMike plugged in, and once it gets connected, if you're on a Windows box, you might have to wait until Windows discovers it and then has a little pop-up menu, and it should identify it as an Arduino Leonardo or as a Pro Micro. Once you do that, you should be able to find it under your device manager. So if you get into Control Panel, Device Manager, you look for ports. It says COM and LPT. If you expand that, you should find something in here listed as probably Arduino Leonardo, something like that. But it'll list the name here, and then it'll have this COM listed. COM and then a number, and there's no space between there. So once you get that, run your PuTTY or other terminal connection tool. In Windows, PuTTY is recommended. You can download it or get it as a Chrome app if you want. But once you get it downloaded, you hit this button for serial because you're making a serial connection. And then on the serial line, type in your COM port. In this case, it's listed as COM port 3. But just make sure you set the speed to 115200. That's the correct speed for MikeMike to communicate. And then once you know those are good settings, you can type saved sessions in here. You could type in here, MikeMike, and then hit save. And then once that goes through, the next time you open PuTTY, it'll have MikeMike settings listed here. You can double click on that and it'll open straight into it. So what we're doing is we're essentially logging into MikeMike here. We're logging into this device so that we can configure it for our use. Now if you're on a Linux box, you will find that under dev tty asterisk, you should find tty acm 0 or 1, depending on which one it is. You can, once you find what your tty number is, your device number, I'm going to use screen here to get connected to it. So this is basically kind of PuTTY. It's a terminal session, but for Linux. So I'm going to type screen dev tty acm 0 and then set speed 115200 and hit enter. So this is what you'll see when the PuTTY terminal comes up too. It won't have anything in it, but once you press a key on MikeMike, I'm going to press the down arrow. There you go. You're at the main menu. So the main menu is gives you kind of a layout of the keys and the general functions for them. It also has the shortcut keys here, and you might notice that I pressed a key on here and it changed something on the screen here. So what we're doing is essentially this is writing to this screen. So I can type into this screen here and it will affect this device. So the shortcut here, IJKL for up, down, left, right, I'm going to hit I, and you'll see that this indicator actually moves when I type I on my computer keyboard, not on here. So I'm going to hit I, there it is. I'm going to hit K, 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 down it goes. So I can choose my selections here, or I can choose my selections on MikeMike, the actual unit itself. So this is escape and save. These are generally always the same, but if not, it'll have instructions down here on the bottom. For menu selection, you can see that we're choosing, with this indicator, we're choosing what thing we're updating, and we are selecting things by pressing the right button, or in this case L, JK or L. So again, the same function. I'm going to start by editing a macro, and I'm going to choose this menu selection by pressing right, or forward in this case. And I can press that on MikeMike, and I'll go back. Or I can press it with the L shortcut on my keyboard, my computer keyboard. So I'm going to choose a macro to run. We'll start with macro 0. And you can navigate through, you get this many actions, and we'll pick the second action just for utility's sake. We're going to press right. Again, we're pressing right to select. We're pressing left to go back, to undo kind of what we're doing, to go back a menu. So let's choose a mouse move. So empty action means nothing happens. And then we've got mouse move click. So MSE, mouse, and this is key for keyboard. So mouse move and click. So we'll choose that one. And now you can see we're moving the mouse. The values are currently set to 0. We can move with IJKL as the arrow keys. So we can use, again, we can use MikeMike, You see my mouse, it transports up to the top left-hand corner of the screen. It's kind of the starting point for it, and it moves. Now, this one's moving pretty slow. Let me grab something to click on. There we go. So we can see it's moving kind of slow. So let's increase the step. So adjust the step. We're currently set to 5. You can go minus and plus with H and Y. So there's no H and Y on MikeMike, but there is on my computer keyboard. So I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to type Y. Step increase, step increase, step increase. Now, I'm going to continue moving the mouse, and we can see that it moves a lot more per button press. So let's just press 1 here, and you can see how we're jumping around a little too much if we want kind of a fine selection. So I'm going to reduce the step in here with, in this case, H, so that's the minus. H, H, H. There we go. And now we're going to choose the 1 button. Right there. And we're saving with this top right button. And if we wanted to abandon, we could go with this top left button, the escape button. So I'm going to save here. And we can see we've got the mouse move. It moves to this, these values, and then clicks. So that means that if I run this macro 0, and I'll go back a screen, and we'll play a macro. We're going to choose macro. I think it was macro 0. There it is. So my mouse jumped to this position and pressed 1. And it'll do the same thing each time I run that macro. Run, 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 run. So let's back out of the macro run and go back to edit that same macro. And we'll edit macro. That's a bug. That's not supposed to say run. Yeah, so edit macro. We'll choose macro 0. And in here, we've still got our mouse move. Now, there's some special things you can do with these actions. You can move them up or down with Y or H. So I'm going to press, clicking in here, I'm going to press H. Oh, well, actually, I want to go down. So yeah, down is associated with H. That's the shortcut listed. I press H, 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 and I move it down. I press Y, 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 Y. You can move this item around. Oops. Sorry, my HJKL is all messed up. You can also copy and paste these actions in case you wanted to make this happen multiple times. So copy and paste are shortcutted with C and V. So I'm going to hit C. Now I'm going to navigate down to here and then hit V, and there it is. And V, 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 V. I can just make all kinds of copies of this. I can also, likewise, I can delete with this top left button, this kind of escape button up here. That'll empty it. Or I can press D on my computer keyboard. I'll press D. There we go. So now we've got these series of mouse clicks. We'll put them all in a row for fun here. And now let's try running that macro. Let's backspace all this. So now we will play a macro. We're going to choose macro 0. And it just pressed 1 a whole bunch of times. So let's back out of that menu. We'll go back to edit this same macro, macro 0. Delete, delete, delete. And let's move it up to the top with Y. Y. And let's do something a little bit more interesting. Let's do a delay. Actually, I should just pick another action. This is just for instruction here. So let's delete that. Actually, let me hit V. Does that come back? V? No. All right. So let's pick a new action. That was mouse move and click. This is mouse move relative, and this is a mouse move that takes place relative to the amount of relative to the current position of the mouse. So this mouse move actually moves the mouse to the corner of the screen and then navigates at a certain amount to a certain location and then clicks. This one is going to take the mouse wherever it is and apply a movement to it. So if I move it over here and it moves down, if I move it over here, it'll move down. So let's mess around with that. Mouse relative. So the mouse relative value, we're going to go down, down, down. Let's do 26. 26 and hit save. Let's see what happens when we run that. Play the macro, macro 0. I'll put my mouse right here. So it doesn't seem to move as much as it seemed to move the other time. But you can see we have a fixed number that we're moving. And let's go back and edit that macro. Let's delete it. Let's do another mouse move relative. Let's go down and right. There we go. Save that. Yeah, the playback, when you're recording it, it seems to double the motion, but on playback I don't think it does. So that one's a little spotty. It might take a little bit of, might take a few attempts to mess around with. Yeah, see, we can see our mouse moves. Still a reliably fixed amount. I think so. So there's some interesting things at play here. Because we're not resetting the mouse, this is actually subject to any kind of mouse sensitivity that you have and subject to any mouse acceleration you have. So those might affect how mouse relative works. So let's back out of this menu. Let's edit the same macro. We'll delete that one. Let's do mouse left click. That should be pretty obvious in case you're just doing, well, actually, I don't even think I have that. Yeah, if you want to do an extra mouse left click, I previously had a mouse move and then a separate mouse left click. I might put that back in. I'm not sure. Mouse move and click was much more useful, and mouse relative is less useful, I guess. Maybe I'll swap that out for just a move. But the idea is that you want to be able to move the mouse and then perform a click or a right click. So we've got mouse left click, mouse right click, and then left hold and right hold, and then mouse release all. So you can set it up so that you drag things, you move them around. You can do graphical work with stuff like this. It's just made, this is just simple. So this is a mouse left click. All that is the mouse left click. So let's do, let's copy that with C, and then V to paste it. Let's do that. So we've got a series of left clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll come back over here and we'll run that macro 0. We'll put our pointer over 9 and then run the macro. And there we go. We've got 7 clicks of 9. Let's delete them. And you can do the same, you know, it's pretty straightforward as far as mouse movements and things like that. So let's go to, so if you use any kind of click and holds, mouse left click and hold, mouse right click and hold, you'll want to do a mouse release afterwards. So let's just skip down to the key tap here. So for key tap, it gives you the opportunity. So these, right now it's waiting for you to tap a keyboard key. So here I can type any keyboard key I want with some limitations. So let's say I want to type, let's do a 3. You know how these are shortcuts, IJKL, so using these buttons here doesn't quite work in this situation. But you do want to type on your computer keyboard these values. So I'm going to hit a 3, and I'll save it with this, or hit return on my keyboard. There we go. And now you'll notice there's a comma here, and that's because you have the opportunity to add another key to the key tap. There's 2 values that can be stored here. So if you hit right on this value, it'll actually open it up for you to edit it, the second field. So let me see if I can do a plus here. Yeah, there we go. Plus. Oh wait, that's not going to work. Well, this is an RPN calculator. Let's do 4. All right. So now we've got key taps 3 and then 4. And then after that, well, let's test this real quick. Macro, play macro, macro 0. So I'll go back to my calculator here. I'm going to run macro 0. 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4. I can even hold it down. It'll repeat. So we've got our key typing happening now. And next, key hold. Now this is this probably isn't going to work very well. You can use this for modifiers. Actually, you can't use it for modifiers. Yeah, I didn't program this. Yeah, never mind. Key hold is not not working right now. Maybe I'll swap that out. Key hold with the mouse move. Yeah, key hold is just for holding down a key, but we can kind of... So we can actually kind of cheat here. So we'll come back to this key hold value. There's no menu for it, but you actually can do it. Key release all just sends that all keys are released. So no matter how many you hold down, how many modifiers, whatever, it'll tell the computer all buttons have been released on the keyboard. So that's something useful to add at the end of your anything where you're holding down buttons. So let's do something. We're going to edit macro 0 again. And we've got key hold, key release. We've got this delay. Let's do a key tap here. We'll do 1, and then we'll do a delay. Now, delay is a feature of in milliseconds. So frequently when you find, especially when you're using mouse moves to navigate and click things, or you're clicking to open a window or of some kind, you'll find some, while it might seem instant to you, the operating system does have a delay of multiple milliseconds. So it is likely that MikeMike will type or click faster than your OS can keep up. And when that happens, you need to add a delay. So for this delay value, we can press up or down to increment the delay by 50. We can also hit left or right to increase it by 500. So we can change these values there we go, 2600, that's a good value. We'll save that. And then after that, we'll have another key tap of, let's say 2. Enter. There we go. So let's try that out. Play macro 0. We'll go back to our calculator, and we'll run that macro. 1, wait 2.5 seconds, 2. So that's our macro run. And we've got easy way to manage mouse clicks, key taps, delays, stuff like that. So now we're going to get into the advanced features. So the first advanced feature is key combo tap. And I probably need a better program for this. Can you see that? I think you can see it. So when I press Ctrl+R on this window, it calculates, it compiles the code for MikeMike. So let's try to do a Ctrl+R. So key combo tap, I'll choose that action. So special keys with left and right. Right now it's set to left control. And then combo key with up and down. So we'll do left and right. So in this case, we'll do a right control. So you can see we've got special keys, caps, function keys. And actually, if you leave this blank, I'm pretty sure I can just... See, let's do a home key. Let's do home button. See what comes up. So combo tap, home. And comma, there's nothing after the comma. So this should just hit home. Hits home real good. So here's this. I'm going to press home. Okay. That's what happens when I press home. So now let's go back to this macro. Combo tap is just special key for home. Let's go back, run the macro, play the macro. 0. Okay. So now we're over here. I'm going to press to play the macro. There we go. And you can see it causes home to be pressed and then released. So let's go back. Let's try a new combo tap. And let's do right control, and I'm changing these modifiers, the special key with left and right. So let's set it to right control, and now I'll use up and down to choose which key I want to press. And I think what I press up here is Ctrl+R. No? Yes. Ctrl+R. Yes. Okay, so now I want to press R, so I'm going to change the combination key with up and down. And this is actually a list of ASCII characters, so I'm going to hold up for a while. Actually, let me hold it on the keyboard. Up, up. There we go. Oops. I'm still getting confused with HJKL. There we go. Come on. Where's R? I don't think it matters if it's capitalized. R. So we've got right control followed by R. Now I'll save that. And we'll go back, and we want to play the macro back. Play macro 0. And over here, I'm going to click. I actually have to have my mouse pointed at this screen in order for the keys. Because right now I'm just typing Ctrl+R into this screen when I run it. So I'll hover over here. Now when I press R, run this, it should type Control R. And it did not. Hello? Oh, right control. Yeah, so my computer might have right control remapped. Hang on. Edit. Let's change this to left control. Time R. Let's try capital R still. There we go. Left control plus R. Play macro, macro 0. Go up here. It still doesn't like it. Let's try lowercase r. It might actually be doing like a shift R or something. Let's see. Edit macro. Combo tap. Left control. Let's do lowercase r. Left control, lowercase r. There we go. Play the macro, macro 0. There we go. Yeah, so it needs to be lowercase. All right, we're learning. I actually wasn't sure if that uppercase would make a difference, but apparently it sends a different key combination. It might actually send like shift lowercase. So I was probably doing Control Shift R. That's interesting also because there's some Control Shift M will open a serial monitor. Let's just test that real quick. Is that a cheating way to do combinations? See, we're figuring stuff out. This is great. Make a new key combination. I actually don't know why I'm all the way down here. Let's do the first one. New key combination. Let's do left control and then M for serial monitor. Serial plotter. I don't think serial monitor will work. Yeah, port's busy. Yeah, because I'm connected to it right here. So if you try to connect to it twice, it'll throw an error for you. However, it is supposed to be Control Shift M. So let's do left control. See, this doesn't repeat, but it does repeat on my keyboard. Let's see what happens when I do that. Left control plus uppercase M. Let's see if that makes a makes the Control Shift M. Play the macro. Yep, it does. Okay. Yeah, so anything capitalized is going to add a shift. So just keep that in mind. Macro. So what is this? So that's how you get combo taps. You can see we've got Windows keys. You can do like Windows R for run commands or something like that. Backspace, caps lock, function keys, special keys, arrows. There's your arrow keys if you want to do stuff like that. But say you want to do a special key like shift arrow or control arrow. So in this screen, you actually can't do that. So you also get the extended function keys. But let's say we wanted to do a shift arrow, which we can't do right now. Let's do left arrow. You do left arrow plus exclamation, which isn't going to work. So let's do left arrow. Play that back. Play macro. I'll click in here and run the macro. Left arrow. It doesn't like that arrow. So it moves it over. But let's do, let's say we wanted to do shift left arrow. So let's make something special. This is raw input. This is advanced mode here. So we've got the action selection that we're going to do. And in this case, we can choose key combo tap. So key combo tap, I'm going to press down to select the first entry, and I'm setting this value. This is a hex value. So I'm choosing which key is going to be the first field in combo tap. So in combo tap, I want to have shift plus that right arrow. So let's see. We'll take a quick look at our cheat sheet here and see that shift value right arrow, where's shift? There it is. So right shift is hex value 0x85. So we can press here until we get to 85, or use the keyboard, pressing right on the keyboard. We could get all the way to 85. Or if we've got the keyboard, we can actually type in directly 85. There we go. We'll go down to the next field. And 85, as we listed here, is right shift. And now we want to press left arrow. And left arrow is listed as D8. So that's the hex value, is D delta 8. So instead of using the arrow keys to scroll to D8, I'm actually just going to press X, type in X on my computer keyboard, and then XD8. So XD8. And it enters itself right away. So we've got 8-5. The combo tap is a special key that is held, and the next key that is the key that is tapped. So D8 is our left arrow, and 8-5 is our right shift. So let's save that. Now we've got this advanced feature. We've got key combo tap, holding R shift, and then pressing L arrow. So I'm actually not sure. I think the modifier might need to have right shift released afterwards, so let's add that just in case. So let's see what happens. Let's play our macro, get this ready, and let's see what happens when I press shift left arrow. Okay, so it selects that value. Hello? Yeah, I think shift is stuck. Yeah, I don't think it likes that. Do I have something like a little bit more simple? Yeah, there we go. This doesn't resize, does it? Oh, yeah, it does. Cool. Okay. ASDF. And when I hit shift left arrow, it selects. Shift left arrow, shift left arrow, shift left arrow. All right. So let's see what happens when I run the macro. Okay, so we've created a raw data input for those values to create something that the menu wouldn't really allow. So there's something else we can do. Let's delete that. Let's try it with without the key release. Let's see if it still works. Let's run it again. Yeah, works without the key release. Cool. Let's go back to macro 0. So we're going to try something different. Remember how I said key holds didn't work? I actually just don't have a menu set up for it. But let's try doing it with raw input. So our action is going to be key hold. The value for key hold is going to be left shift 8-1. I'm going to hit X81. There we go. And that's the only key I'm going to hold. So I'm going to hit finish. Finish. So key hold left shift. Then I'm going to press key tap. Let's do A, save. Oh, same. S, save. Do another key tap. I'm going to hit D on my computer keyboard. D, F. So key hold left shift, ASDF, and then we're going to key release all. Oops. Sorry, I keep HJKLing. That's mouse release all. And we want key release all. All right, let's see if that works. I'll play the macro and erase this and hold shift and hit ASDF. There we go. Let's put that in the middle for a little bit of troubleshooting in case something goes wrong. And we'll choose our macro 0 and run. And there we go. So we're holding shift, we're pressing all those keys, and then we're releasing them. So you can do lots of really cool stuff with this. So imagine moving your mouse to click on something, even to drag over a certain area. Click on something, wait a little bit, type something out, click OK, wait 2.5 seconds, and then do something else. Any number of combinations you can do here. So we have And of course, we still have the ability to copy and paste these, C, V, 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 or drag these around. So here we would want to move this key release all to below this value. So we'll just go ahead, and down is associated with Y, or H, I'm sorry. So let's press H. There we go. And this empty action, you can't really delete it. Actually, I can, well, technically I should be able to move this empty action down. H on it. Yeah, look at that, look at that. Now we're all reordered. Very nice, very nice. All right, so that's pretty much everything you can do. These special key values, these hex values, are the Arduino special key outputs. It's on their website for their Arduino keyboard. I'll include a link to them. And then, of course, any generic ASCII values are listed here. Any of these letters, if you wanted to do send a delete key or something like that, you can hard code it by using 7F. These are standard ASCII characters, but that's all. That only matters if you want to do one of these the fancy dancy raw inputs. That'll give you all the tricky stuff that you can do. But I think that's about it. If you have any questions, so after you create that macro, you can go to Hotkey Mode, and if you choose Hotkey Mode, you press the right button to select it. Once you're in that Hotkey Mode, it will allow you to choose macro 0, macro 1, macro 2, macro 3, macro 4, and then this is escape in this case. So right now, I forget what I set macro 0 to. I was just kind of messing around with it. So I'll press this button for macro 0. Does that release shift? Yeah, it does. Cool. And I can just hold it down, and it has a slight delay, but it'll just keep on repeating that value, that macro. There's no macros here, but if I hit, it says Hotkey mode exit with 6 or right. So I'll hit right, and now I'm out of that mode again. Now, of course, when you are done, when you have created your macro and you got it set up correctly, you want to save to memory. So in this case, we'll go ahead, look at our macro. Here's our macro. It makes no sense, but whatever. We're just messing around here. Save to memory. So I've saved it to memory. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it. So now we've cut power to it. It's completely unplugged. And plug it back in. Move the stuff out of the way. And so our ACM0 is back. Let's screen back into it. Press a key. There we go. And go to edit our macro. And you can see we've saved the macro that's in here. Yeah. So let me go back in here. We'll just delete this. This is actually for someone. And we'll save that macro. Save to memory. That's it. That's MikeMike. So I am, of course, very happy to be able to help you all out with getting your macros set up initially and getting you some kind of introduction. If you need help getting this putty set up on your Windows box or whatever, no problem. I'm happy to help. I just want to see MikeMike get used, and what I really want to do is have people not have to do silly repetitive work so much. MikeMike, computers are here to help us to accomplish things, not to be adversarial. They're not here for us to fight with them, at least ideally. So don't do any work that a computer could do for you. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments or drop me an email.